and powered by DemeraraWaves.com.
A very good morning to you with the news at this time. I am Deanna Jordan. The news comes to you with the compliments of Eureka Medical Laboratories. To begin the news, here's a look at the leads. The Alliance for Change is to lodge international complaints of abuse of women against Government Minister Nigel Darmlal. Anti-drug agents believe that there is a large quantity of cocaine with one brand in Guyana. In regional news, a group of men arrested allegedly with a large number of weapons in Suriname near the border with Guyana can now talk with their lawyers. For the international news, we'll bring to you the latest bulletin from the BBC World Service. The details of these and other stories will be coming up in just a moment.
Don't let the fear of contracting the coronavirus disease deter you from seeking the medical care you need. At Eureka Labs, we ensure the safety of our clients and staff with our rigid sanitization routine. This involves the use of ultraviolet lights to effectively rid the air and all surfaces of viruses and bacteria that may be present throughout the lab daily. The light works to rapidly inactivate microorganisms through a physical process that is invisible to human eye. So the next time you need a checkup, don't hesitate to give us a call on 225-7574 to schedule your appointment.
And now the news in detail. The Alliance for Change, AFC, says it will be complaining to the United Nations Committee for the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women about Minister of Local Government Nigel Darmlal's behavior towards women. A woman has publicly accused Mr. Darmlal of communicating his sexual desires for her, including an image and voice with her via Facebook Messenger. Her mother has since expressed outrage against the cabinet member. The AFC's women's arm made its position known one day after President Irfan Ali said those who are offended by Mr. Darmlal should make a report to the police.
If someone has an allegation against somebody, in whatever shape and form, they have to report those allegations. They have to report those allegations because the minister would have said to me that his phone was lost, and he also has some allegations of his own that he's making in terms of the totality of the conversation that took place. I am not going to be the judge of that on any side. But if there is an allegation, there is a place in which those allegations has to be made.
Meaning the police?
That is where allegations are reported.
Mr. Darmlal did not respond to a WhatsApp request for comment. The Women for Change says it also intends to bring the allegations against Mr. Darmlal to the attention of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. The WFC says, when taken together with his comment in the National Assembly about a dildo, the allegation that he preyed on an overseas-based Guyanese, and his post against two female judges, and his general approach, indicates contempt for women. WFC tells the President that he needs to launch a full and impartial investigation into the conduct of Mr. Darmlal and make the findings public. The People's National Congress reform is today expected to decide on who will fill the second vacant opposition seat in the National Assembly. Dr. Nicolette Henry's resignation takes effect today, and already Mr. Joseph Harmon has vacated his seat from March 15th. So far, the PNCR has decided that its leader, Aubrey Norton, will replace Dr. Henry. He is tipped to emerge as Guyana's new opposition leader. Party sources say that the representative of the list, David Granger, is awaiting the name of Mr. Harmon's replacement from the PNCR. After he gets the second name, the sources say he will write the Chief Election Officer of the Guyana Elections Commission, informing him of the names to be extracted from the list of candidates. The chief election officer will then inform the National Assembly, and the new persons will be sworn in as parliamentarians for a Partnership for National Unity plus Alliance for Change. The Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit, KANU, says cocaine allegedly seized during two separate busts are of the same brand. Head of KANU, James Singh, says agents are working on the theory that there is a large quantity of this brand of the narcotic in Guyana. He says so far there is no connection between the 5 persons who were arrested in Prashad Nagar, Georgetown on Tuesday and the 3 others who were arrested on Wednesday at Tushan, East Bank, Essequibo. The 8 persons, including 3 elderly persons, are due to appear in court today. The 5 persons have been arrested in connection with the alleged discovery of more than 11 kilograms of cocaine and 266 grams of ecstasy. The total value is more than 12 million Guyana dollars. Those arrested in a house at Shantiniketan Street, Prashad Nagar, Georgetown, are 62-year-old Lena Narain, also known as Auntie Lena, 60-year-old James Herbert, 71-year-old K. Jennifer Butcher, 27-year-old Jamal Narain, also known as Tunks, and 47-year-old Gregory Faria, who is a Surinamese. Also expected to appear in court today are minibus driver 31-year-old Akeem Bromel, 46-year-old Gary Tony, and 28-year-old Oliton Sobers. KANU says the men were intercepted in a Route 32 bus in which more than 11 kilograms of cocaine, worth more than 12 million Guyana dollars, were found. The agents say a pistol and 8 matching rounds were also found in the vehicle. The Demerara Harbour Bridge is set to introduce an automated tolling system from today. General Manager of the Harbour Bridge, Wayne Watson, expects that the new automated tolling system will ease traffic congestion on that east to west corridor. He says the pilot testing phase of the system, which started in February this year with a few select vehicles, went well. The Harbour Bridge General Manager says commuters will only need to pay their toll via a radio frequency identification tag, which will be placed on the front of their vehicle and on their mobile phone. According to him, bridge commuters will be registered to a database and they will need to have funds in their mobile money account. The magnetic RFID tag will go on the vehicle, and when that vehicle approaches the toll station on the eastern end of the bridge, the system's sensors will identify the commuter's vehicle using the tag and the toll will be deducted automatically. He noted that with the system, different tags will be created for different vehicles, whether cars, trucks, or vans. Meanwhile, Police Commissioner Clifton Hicken says he is pleased that the double-lane west to east traffic from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. is working effectively. The traffic chief says more police will be deployed along the East Bank Demerara to assess the traffic situation and take decisions to ease congestion. The police force says more traffic cones will be placed at strategic points on the road to aid in free flow of traffic. A 76-year-old man was burned to death on Thursday at his residence at Bachelor's Adventure, East Coast, Demerara. The fire occurred at about 8:20 a.m. The Guyana Fire Service identified the dead man as Charles Brown. 2 other persons, 35-year-old Andrew Reed and 30-year-old Godfrey Reed, also occupied the wooden and concrete building. The house was owned by Onika Lawrence Charles. Firefighters believe that a kerosene stove, which was left unattended, flared up and ignited nearby combustible materials. And now for the regional news. In Suriname, 8 persons who have been arrested for allegedly being in possession of several weapons have now been given the go-ahead to meet with their lawyers. Star News reports that the men were held at South Drain Nakeri, which is located across the Quarantine River from Molson Creek in Guyana. A lawyer for one of the accused men says his client has nothing to do with the weapons and that were found, and that he was in a completely different location from where the weapons were found. The weapons include 4 AKs, 4 AR-15s, a Glock pistol, a shotgun, and ammunition. The suspects also had a satellite phone with them. Star News learns that the men transported the weapons from Paramaribo. It is believed that the weapons were stolen at the residence of ex-President Desi Bouterse. Barbados is examining the possibility of establishing an auxiliary or reserve arm of the police service there. Attorney General Dale Marshall has suggested that this is one way that the police service can deal with shortage of policemen and women. The police service has a vacancy for 278 persons. The service is legally authorized to have 1,530 officers. Barbados Today reports that Mr. Marshall says the Police Act makes provisions for the Special Constabulary to perform aspects of policing. However, the Attorney General said he has been advised that due to various factors, alternative arrangements were made in the 1990s not in keeping with the legislation, resulting in the police service not having a credible auxiliary. Mr. Marshall said he has also been told that a significant number of applicants are burdened by requirements that disqualify them for police service. He noted that the best qualified candidates prefer to seek employment elsewhere, particularly in the private sector. Approximately 13 staff at the state-owned Antigua and Barbuda Broadcasting Services, ABS, staged a protest outside the company's headquarters on Wednesday. Shop steward Carrie Adams told Observer they are dissatisfied with the decision they claim was taken by Attorney General Stedroy Benjamin to mount an appeal to remove the panel of judges who are presiding over their industrial case against the management of ABS. The matter in question is seeking to address issues of outstanding overtime and holiday payments, which reportedly date back to 2015. Adams said industrial action by staff will continue until the appeal to remove the panel of judges is reversed. The workers are being represented by Ralph Potter of the Antigua Trades and Labor Union. Observer Media was unable to reach Mr. Potter for a comment. When contacted, Benjamin referred the Observer to lawyers in his chambers who he said had been responsible for that court matter. International Criminal Court ICC prosecutor Karim Khan, appearing on Venezuelan state television on a visit to Caracas on Thursday, said the court will open an office there. Khan, who was accompanied by President Nicolas Maduro, said his 3-day visit to the South American country had been fruitful. Khan last visited in November when he said he would open an investigation into possible crimes against humanity in Venezuela, which is in the midst of a long-running social and economic crisis. And now for the international news, here's the latest bulletin from the BBC World Service.
Hello, I'm Debbie Russ with the BBC News. There are growing doubts in Ukraine that a humanitarian operation from Mariupol will go ahead today. A Red Cross spokesman said 3 cars and 9 staff were heading towards the besieged southern city. But an aide to the mayor said the city remained closed for anyone trying to enter and was very dangerous for anyone trying to leave. Emma Vardy is following developments from Lviv.
The Red Cross says 3 vehicles have been able to set off towards Mariupol, bringing aid in, hoping to get some people out. But of course, it's going to take a lot more than just 3 vehicles. 170,000 people there are still trapped. There has been this other convoy of around 45 buses hoping to get to the city, which of course would allow a much larger evacuation of people. But we heard last night that that convoy had been held up by a Russian checkpoint.
The governor of Russia's Belgorod region, just across the border from Ukraine, says Ukrainian helicopters have attacked an oil depot in the city in the early hours. Footage posted online shows 2 low-flying helicopters releasing missiles at an industrial facility, followed by huge explosions. Vyacheslav Kludkov said 2 employees had been injured. Jenny Hill in Moscow has the latest.
State news agencies say that the fire is still going at this oil depot, that 8 tanks are currently on fire and that some local residents have had to be moved out of their homes. We've not been able to verify the accusations made by the governor of the region, who has accused Ukraine of sending in 2 military helicopters to carry out airstrikes on the depot, causing the fire. Belgorod is known to be a kind of staging post for Russian troops who've been carrying out attacks on the Kharkiv area of Ukraine.
The Russian Foreign Minister, Sergei Lavrov, is in India for discussions on the sale of Russian crude oil to India. Western countries and Japan have pressured Delhi to take a tougher stance against Moscow, but Delhi has been reluctant to criticise Russia. Mr. Lavrov said Moscow was grateful.
Our Western colleagues would like to reduce any meaningful international issue to the crisis in Ukraine. You know our position. We do not hide anything, and we appreciate that India is taking this situation in the entirety of facts, not just in a one-sided way.
The governor of Ukraine's northern Chernihiv province says Russian troops are withdrawing. Vyacheslav Chaus said it's unclear why they're doing it, but he hopes it's for good. And he predicted even if the troops were merely regrouping, the Ukrainians would give them a double welcome. World News from the BBC. Police in Sri Lanka say more than 50 people have been arrested following violent street protests in the capital, Colombo. A curfew was lifted early on Friday, but security remains tight. Hundreds of demonstrators had tried to storm the residence of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa on Thursday, angered by his handling of the island's worsening economic crisis. They were dispersed by riot police using batons and tear gas. The number of school students taking this year's university entrance exams in Myanmar has fallen by 2/3 compared with 2020. Initially, COVID restrictions disrupted schooling, but last year's military coup has also had an effect. Some are being taught in makeshift schools in temporary camps, and many parents have kept their children at home as a protest against military rule. The Solomon Islands has said it won't allow China to build a military base on its territory, despite plans to enter into a security pact with Beijing. The Pacific Island chain's Prime Minister said no foreign country, including China, would be permitted to build a military base in the archipelago, despite what he called misinformation circulating in the media. Phil Mercer reports from Sydney.
Manasseh Sogavare said a security pact with China would offer protection from external or internal threats and was no different to one already in place with Australia. The Solomon Islands Prime Minister insisted that no foreign country, including China, would be allowed to build a military base in the archipelago. Australia, though, is wary of China's ambitions. It's accused Beijing of using incredibly aggressive tactics to militarise the Pacific.
Nearly 900 people in England with type 1 diabetes are testing a potentially life-changing artificial pancreas. The technology uses a sensor under the skin which continually measures blood sugar levels. That's the latest. BBC News.
The news came to you with the compliments of Eureka Medical Laboratories.
A COVID-19 PCR test is now mandatory for many routine activities, including travel and return to work purposes. At Eureka, our trained and experienced staff will ensure confidentiality while your test is conducted in a professional and timely manner, with results in just 48 hours. So the next time you require an efficient and hassle-free PCR COVID-19 test, call 624-8378, 608-8378, or 623-7233 to schedule your appointment. You can also ask about our house call testing service.
And now to end the news, here is a recap of the leads. The Alliance for Change is to lodge international complaints of abuse of women against Government Minister Nigel Darmlal. Anti-drug agents believe that there is a large quantity of cocaine with one brand in Guyana. And in regional news, a group of men arrested allegedly with a large number of weapons in Suriname near the border with Guyana can now talk with their lawyers. And that's the end of the news.
This has been the news, compiled in the News Talk Radio newsroom. For ongoing updates, visit demerarawaves.com, and you can check facebook.com/demwaves and twitter.com/demwaves.